Yes, guys, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to not Club Football TV, L5 Start FC for a Liverpool against Norwich preview, where we preview the game where Liverpool take on Norwich at Anfield Saturday, 3 o'clock. Not televised currently in the UK. However, we've got a preview to preview this weekend's action in the one, the only, the Premier League. I'm not joined by anybody today, but I'm joined by you guys. So please help me out by getting involved in the chat, and please feel free to get involved in the discussion and drop a few comments in the live chat. That would be absolutely boss. However, Liverpool are coming into this game on a little bit of form. It has to be said, coming into this game on a big crest of wave. Now, if you really want to consider Liverpool, and I set up this kickoff question because it was designed for somebody who was meant to be with me today, but unfortunately could come through in the end. But Liverpool obviously got through Inter Milan, and they're showing proper signs. They're showing proper signs of a team that can compete on all fronts. Liverpool 2, Inter Milan 0 at the San Siro. I mean, the San Siro, although it's going down, what an iconic stadium it is in European football. And I've just got a few stats here to show you. So obviously the game finished 2-0 Liverpool, in which Liverpool got 2 goals from Firmino and 1 from Mohamed Salah just 8 minutes after. Obviously, it's a massive lead. I think, considering the fact we weren't necessarily playing well as well, compounded by the fact we were meant to have that away goals rules being taken away, so that could have offered Liverpool to be a little bit more reserved, but we definitely fought our way through the game, and you never really see a Liverpool team reserved to try and take it back. They always look to try and get on the front foot as soon as they can, and that's what they did. I mean, at the first half, I'm not too sure if anybody will agree with me, but it was such a boring game. No shots on target for each of the teams, but Liverpool eventually got 2 shots on target, 2 goals, 13, 21, 22, 22 attempts. Yeah, Jesus. Maths Jesus, so you're not coming and check there. But 22 combined shots, only 2 coming on target for both teams. And Liverpool got the job done. That was the most important thing. And it was quite a strong team, considering, I'll just run you through the lineup. Obviously, the real big standout one was the fact that Jordan Henderson was dropped out of the midfield. But apart from that, it was a very strong Liverpool team. It was a solid Liverpool team. Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota, Mo Salah. Will obviously come to Diogo Jota, who's a massive talking point ahead of this game against Norwich after he picked up an ankle injury. Shame to see him come off in such good form. Thiago Alcantara, Fabinho, Elliott. It wasn't a promising game from Thiago Alcantara, though I felt towards as the game went on, he was the first half of the half. The first quarter of the game, I felt Thiago Alcantara's presence was made. He was getting stuck in. He was involved in opportunities, igniting opportunities going forward. But towards the second half, he kind of dropped off. However, he sort of established himself in a different type of role, and he was doing all the dirty work defensively, which I think is very good and is much needed on a European night like that. You have the solid basis of Fabinho. Harvey Elliott, not his day particularly in Inter Milan, but really happy to see him get his Champions League start. And yeah, what a player Harvey Elliott is, and hopefully he is involved tomorrow. And the back four, much of the similar starting back four. I mean, you could take Kante out and put Matip in, and that's still a very solid back four, which if you put that on the table, anybody could say that was the starting back four. So yeah, overly very strong team. I mean, when you come up against a team like Inter Milan, who play in a league notoriously known for being quite good at defence, they're not as technically gifted. However, they can always put a solid fight on the line. We did quite well. I mean, obviously, coming into the game, I always felt that we'd have opportunities, but playing such a 3-5-2 means that they can play direct. They can get the ball quick to the pace that they have through the wing backs of Dumfries and Perisic, and they had the focal men like Martinez and Dzeko. And they did have opportunities. That's not to say that Inter Milan didn't have opportunities. They'll be kicking themselves that they didn't take or put any on target, but at the same time, you've got to filter in how well Liverpool did defend for a large part of the game. Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk were standout players. Liverpool were just top-notch, and that was just the end of it. Liverpool good teams get through. I think at the end of the day, we've got to take a look. And as a Liverpool fan, you've got to take your eyes off and look at it from a football perspective. Will Liverpool displaying credentials in this game to really put forward an argument for them to be Champions League favourites? I think that performance does highlight that. Obviously, you have your Man Cities, your Bayern Munichs, who did stumble, but you know, on paper, you have your favourites. Chelsea, obviously, holders in the Champions League, you expect them to get far as well. But Liverpool showed that you can do the dirty work, and although you may not be, you know, so good, you can get the foundations that you can bring back to Anfield and put a solid performance in, and that typified that performance. So, look, I'm very happy with that, and that will only set us in good stead. With 2 more games to the Carabao Cup final, we've got another final on the cards today. But there was a big dampener on this. Diogo Jota had an injury, twisted his ankle. Jurgen Klopp confirmed it wasn't as serious as first feared in the press conference after the game. The post-match press conference, Jurgen Klopp was quite dismissive of the fact that Jota may be out long term. However, as time has progressed, you know, it's kind of become clear and evident that he will be in a race of time to get fit for that Carabao Cup final. Now, it's obviously first and foremost not great to see Jota go down with a player in such good form. You never want to see a player with Liverpool go down, but I think considering their strength in depth, I think they have the players of high quality to cover the areas, and that's why I think Liverpool will come through in the end. But look, this is the Premier League show. Going back to the Diogo Jota stuff, it does look very much like obviously Jurgen Klopp's ruled him out for tomorrow, but he's in a protective boot. He said that was always going to happen once it's involving the ankle and the ligaments. He sounds like he's twisted his ankle, and we all know what Jurgen Klopp is like. Sometimes he's a bit, you know, as soon as there's a little bit of a knock, he likes to pull the player right off to try and he's very precautionary, Jurgen Klopp. So I'd anticipate that Diogo Jota will be out for Leeds potentially and Norwich. I expect him to be back for the Carabao Cup final. This is my prediction. I think he'll come off the bench, though. I don't think he'll make a start. I think for a game of that magnitude, you need to have some minutes. And if he's not able to establish himself in as late as Leeds, then I don't think he'll feature starting. But guys, big up to everybody. Make sure you drop a like, drop a subscribe, get involved in the chat. And yeah, welcome to the Premier League show. Liverpool against Norwich. If you're joining me now, Saturday at 3 o'clock, I'll be at the game. L5 Star will be at the game as well. So I'll be meeting Big Boy Jack at the game. But guys, big up to everybody. And yeah, we are locked in and we are loaded. So everything you guys need to know ahead of Liverpool against Norwich. Liverpool, obviously, at the moment in the league. Let me just get a little bit of data for you guys to see, so you guys can, you know, someone's knocking on my door, but they should just go away just for 20 minutes. 1 sec. So, right, here we go. So, Liverpool against Norwich. So, what you guys can expect from this game is quite clear. 2 teams at opposite ends of the Premier League. So Liverpool will be very, you know, they have the squad, they have the players at their disposal to accommodate these type of games. They meet on Saturday when title chasing Liverpool welcome relegation threatened Norwich City to Anfield. Now the Reds come into the match still unbeaten in all competitions this calendar year. Obviously that's a fascinating achievement in itself, and hopefully we can keep that up with a win against the Canaries tomorrow. But face a Norwich side whose survival hopes have significantly been boosted in recent weeks. So obviously, Norwich are coming into this game with a little bit of confidence. Now, that's regardless of the fact they got pumped by Man City last week. But you know, Saturday will be the first time in 2022 that Jurgen Klopp's men have played before Pep Guardiola's side in the league, given the chance to crank up the pressure ever so slightly ahead of City's match against Tottenham. So obviously, that is a big match that we'll obviously talk about in due course, because that game needs to be talked about as well. How important is it for us to put the points on the board and put potential pressure on Manchester City against Tottenham? But the Reds may be hopeful from a favour from the Spurs side that's already beaten Manchester City this season. But first, they hold up their end of the bargain to close the gap on the leaders to 6 points, if only temporarily. Now, we obviously know Liverpool have a game in hand. So providing they win their game in hand against Leeds, as well as winning against Norwich, that gap is reduced to 6. But any stumble from Manchester City will obviously shorten that gap further. Now, obviously, Liverpool are coming into this game with a bit of form. Let's go down to the form guides. But so Liverpool, I mean, squeaky clean. I mean, there's no sort of denial that Liverpool will be coming into this game clear favourites. And I think it'd be an idiot to really, as a football fan, to really give Norwich a chance in this game. No discredit to Norwich, but just how good Liverpool have been. And in the Premier League, obviously a little bit more tricky, having that loss against Leicester and that draw against Chelsea. Since that, we've been squeaky clean, and obviously fingers crossed that stays the same. But obviously Norwich in their Premier League form, obviously registering that loss against Manchester City. They had a draw before that, 2 wins and 2 losses. So they look like they're trying to establish that form of consistency, which will give them optimism ahead of the final end of the season. But it'd be interesting to see from a Norwich perspective whether they rest players to really, gear themselves up for the more winnable games towards the end of the season. Or will they fancy their chances at a place like Anfield with Liverpool in the form that they are currently? It's very unlikely that Norwich will get a result. Not to say that they won't, but it's very unlikely. But Norwich themselves have only won one of their last 12 league visits to Anfield, with that coming all the way back in 1994, while they've also won just one of their last 25 away top-flight games against teams in the top 3 of the table. So they're not great against the big teams away from home. That's always going to be clear when you're coming up against a team that's fighting relegation. I mean, you see a lot of the teams, in and around those areas. Very few, really struggle. Really don't struggle away from home in the league. So, across all competitions, Norwich have now won 3 of their last 4 away games. So there are signs of improvement on the road for the Canaries, and they will be hoping to take full advantage of any European hangover for Liverpool on Merseyside this weekend. Now, let's look at team news, because team news is important. This dictates how the starting team will pan out, and then subsequently it will dictate how the game will go. Now, Liverpool will be out Diogo Jota for this match after the Portugal international was taken off at half-time with a swollen ankle. Now, due to a few reports, Jota's injury is reportedly more serious than first feared. And that's the big headline, whether he could miss the Carabao Cup. But we've obviously got a big game in the league. I mean, a lot of people are really looking towards the Carabao Cup. We still have 2 big games in the league where we have to put things right. And we'll have to do that. And I'm sure that will be the mentality in the Liverpool camp. But obviously, from a Liverpool perspective, we're all going to look at the final, because at the same time, it's an opportunity for silverware, and that is the closest thing on our minds to that. So that's what's going to be on our mind, really. But Luis Diaz will be hoping to come into the side following a bright start to his Liverpool career, while Firmino, Jordan Henderson and Joel Matip are among the other players who will be pushing up for a recall. Now, Firmino's had a direct hand in 5 goals from his last 4 appearances against Norwich, while Salah can boast an even better record than that with 5 goal contributions in his last 3 against them. Salah, Firmino, they look solid. But for Norwich have been rocked by the news that Adam Idah will miss the remainder of the season, and he is need surgery on his knee. So now there could be better news elsewhere, though, with Matthias Norman closing on return, and Ozan Kabak, obviously the former Liverpool loanee, having recovered from illness ahead of a possible return to Anfield. Now, Tim Krul, for just a few little bit of injury news in terms of Norwich. I mean, Tim Krul and Jacob Sorensen thought to be still a week or so away from fitness, while Lucas Rupp is now back in rehab, and Saturday's match is also likely too soon to come for Andre Omar. I'm not going to embarrass myself with that name, but obviously, you can see the name of there. But obviously, Liverpool's possible starting lineups. Now, this website predicted that Alisson will start, Alexander Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Henderson, Fabinho, Keita, Salah, Firmino, Diaz. Norwich City potential lineup is Angus Gunn, Max Aarons, Grant Hanley, Aaron Gibson, Brandon Williams, Billy Gilmore, Lise Malou, McLean, Sergeant Pookie, and Rashika. So obviously, it's an established Norwich team. I mean, we all have heard of those names. They're not names that are full of academy prospects. I mean, we all have heard of them. So they have enough quality at their disposal to field a team which is recognisable and a team that can push. But they have undoubtedly improved, and that's why Liverpool need to be cautious about this game. But in terms of my predictions, now, I think he'll rotate. And the reason I think he'll rotate is not a discredit towards Norwich. It's purely down to the fact I just believe, from a Liverpool perspective, what Jurgen Klopp has to do is to gain a little bit of control ahead of what is a busy week for him. He needs to rotate, but in moderation. Now, Jurgen Klopp, we know from the time he's been at Liverpool, whenever players have been playing well, he's not one to really take players out. So, say Robertson's performing, he won't take Robertson out. He'll keep Robertson in. He has his favourites, Jurgen Klopp, and that is what we love about him. However, will he rotate? So let me just go through a few comments. So where do we finish in the league this season, Alid? I think we finished second in the league this season. They're still on. It's still on, and I think he'll go right to the end. I don't think he'll finish the 6 points. I think he'll finish much closer. But I believe 6 points is a big gap. Now, considering we have to go to Manchester City and get a result, which I feel we're well capable of doing, we have the quality at our disposal to get that result that's needed. It will be difficult because Manchester City are in the form right now. It looks very, very difficult for them to really, really be stopped. And that's not to say that they won't be stopped. Southampton managed to do it. And I'm sure Tottenham will put up a bit of fight and effort to do it as well tomorrow. So, considering Tottenham's history against Manchester City, you definitely can't put Man City to win straight away. I wouldn't put my house on Man City to win tomorrow, if I'm being brutally honest with you. And that's not to say that Tottenham will turn up. That's just to say that Manchester City haven't fared off well against Tottenham in recent years. Will you be vlogging the game, bro? Yes, I will. I'll be at the game tomorrow, mate. So Klopp Talk TV. Join me over there. Guys, does anyone have lateral flows, right? And you take your lateral flows and it blocks your nose. I have problems with it all the time, mate. All the time. So apologies if you hear a stuffy nose. I haven't got cold. I haven't got COVID, nothing. I've just literally had a lateral flow and it's clogged up my nose. But drop a like on the stream and subscribe if you are new. That is the motto. Big up to L5 Star FC. Make sure you drop a subscribe. Covering you with all the Liverpool content. No Jota for the game. Klopp ruled him out. Hoping he will be back for the cup final. That is the big aim. Hopefully he is back. But Diaz debut, bro. Right. So you guys are asking for predictions. Now, going back to my point, I think he needs to rotate, but in moderation. That's what I'm going to say. I think he from a Liverpool perspective, from Alid's perspective, I think he should play a more rotated team. However, what I think he'll do is he'll play a strong team tomorrow, but he'll make a few little alterations there. So let me just get up my team. So this is it. So 1 second. I've just got one change to make. And after reading one of those stats on the board, I did have Mane in. And Mane's gone because this is my starting team. So, Alid's starting prediction. I've gone for Alisson in goal, Robertson, Van Dijk, Matip and Milner. Now, a few eyebrows raised potentially for that Milner shout right back. I've gone for Milner right back purely because I think Trent's played a large number of games. I really do. I think if you put down on paper how many games he's played, I think he's already played next to 35 games already this season. And with the final looming around the corner, I expect him to return to the team on Leeds. But I'm just giving him a little bit of rest, a little bit of breathing space to allow him a week to recover. So he allows himself to establish that rhythm again for Leeds into the cup final. And I think a lot of people saying drop Van Dijk, maybe Kante, Gomez, or Matip, Gomez. But I think Van Dijk will keep his place. That's why I was going back to. That's why I was alluding to the fact that I do think Klopp will still hold a little bit of strength within this team. I think obviously 2 changes from the team in midweek across that back five with Matip and Milner coming in. I just think Matip comes in for this one. Maybe Kante plays it against Leeds on Wednesday, and then Matip goes on Sunday. But Matip ideally is our best centre-back. But Lukaku's been played into a little bit of form. So does he start Kante for the Carabao Cup final? Does that filter and affect his options going into this game? But, in terms of the preparation for that, we'll have to wait and see. But in terms of the midfield, I'm going for Fabinho. We never look the same without Fabinho. I mean, he does have the license to, maybe rest him for this game, but I don't think Klopp will have that in his heart. He may do it, though. He may do it. Maybe play Hendo in the 6 with Keita and Elliott in front. That could be a potential shout. Potentially could put Milner in the 6, put Fabinho and Elliott with Gomez right back. I know there's a lot of alterations, but it's a good headache that Jurgen Klopp has because he's been given the license to make these changes, utilize the depth we have, and therefore we can start a team that's strong enough to get the result. Now, I've gone for Elliott on that right side of the midfield three. I still think, he has by the way, Jurgen Klopp was, talking in that press conference, it really does highlight to me that Harvey Elliott could make a start in this one. Diaz to make his debut in terms of a Liverpool start. I truly believe. Wait, didn't he start against Leicester though, or did he come on? I'm not too sure. But maybe a lot of people saying Gomez. I would have Gomez, but I just feel like if you're going to play a player, is he going to play for Leeds? Is he going to play for Chelsea? I think Jurgen Klopp should only start players which he believes, or take players in the squad which he believes have, the quality. I wouldn't put Gomez in. That's all I'm going to say. I think if you're going to play a player straight off the bat, this is preparation. This is preparation for Chelsea. This is preparation for Leeds, and I think this is preparation for beyond, which we've got Norwich again in the cup. Maybe Gomez comes in for that, but I just feel that it's going to be very difficult for Gomez to establish himself in this Liverpool team. I really do believe that, because I think the prowess and the quality that Kante showed on a consistent basis whenever he's been called upon. You have Matip, who's been our better centre half this season than Virgil van Dijk, and Virgil van Dijk's a colossus. It's always going to be difficult. He came on against Leicester. That's what I mean. Diaz. Yeah, he came on against Leicester. Don't think he started a game for us yet. Oh, is it? Hasn't it? I don't know. Has he started? No, it can't have been. But Diaz will make his start tomorrow in my prediction. Look, I love Milner. Trev, my granddad, absolutely loves Milner because he's a utility player. He's an old school player. He just stands his ground. But obviously, granddad loves that because Milner's a bit, reminds him, I think, of what football was like back in the day, I think, considering Milner. But look, big up to John as well. But how are you, my brother? Obviously, big up to you. But that's why I've gone for Keita, Elliott. Obviously, Keita did really well in the midweek as part of a triple change of Firmino, Keita, and Diaz was it. So I think Diaz, Firmino, and Salah. Firmino has a good record against Norwich, much like the record that Salah has against them. And I think Diaz needs to come in. I don't think Diaz will start the Carabao Cup final, which means that I think he's given the license and the ability to drop Mane for this one. I think he'll rest Mane. I think he'll rest Trent. I'll be very, very surprised if Trent plays 90 minutes for the next 3 games. Providing, we go into extra time in that Carabao Cup game. I just find it very difficult to believe. And there's a lot of other players which could be due a rest. Would play Matip against Norwich. Yeah, that's what I do as well. Klopp will start Mane in the final, I reckon. Exactly. So I think he's got to look forward. He's got, although Klopp has the motto, look to the next game, I do think he'll have his eyes set on that Carabao Cup final, and that will filter into his judgment of his team selection for this game. That's all I'm going off. That's the basis I'm going off anyway. That is my starting team. And I look at the other Premier League fixtures. Now, it's obviously key to recognise that Mike Dean will be refereeing this Liverpool-Norwich game, which is absolutely great. But we'll go into the Premier League fixtures. So this week, obviously, we have to be careful because I have been caught out a few times on stream by really having a right pop of Man City, and then they go and pump the team they play next. But I'm going to talk of all the fixtures. So West Ham against Newcastle. Ooh, that is a tricky one straight off the bat. I mean, Newcastle are coming into a little bit of form. They've won two of their last 3 games or something like that. 3 of their last 4 games. So I'd expect them to be on a high. Coming into West Ham, who scraped a draw against Leicester last Sunday. I'm going to go for a draw, 2-2 with that one. Arsenal, Brentford. Emirates, I'd expect Arsenal to win, considering Brentford have a poor away form. So I'm going to go for 2-0 Arsenal. Aston Villa against Watford. Stevie G, hopefully Coutinho can do a mad one. I expect Watford to get the win, Aston Villa to get the win, rather. I think 3-1 that game will finish. Watford will show some sort of a fight, but I just feel Aston Villa have the quality going forward with the likes of Coutinho, Buendia, and much, much more. So Brighton against Burnley, a little, not the most exciting game that we're looking forward to, but Brighton playing a decent style. Brighton, Burnley obviously showing a little bit encouraging signs ahead of their relegation scrap, but I hope they get relegated, if I'm being brutally honest. I don't know if any of you guys have watched the In-Betweeners, but yeah, that Will's insight of Burnley typifies my insight of Burnley. Yeah, I hate Burnley. But Brighton, I think Brighton will win 2-1. They're home, so I have to back the home team for this one. Crystal Palace against Chelsea could be a little bit of a stumbler for Chelsea, considering they face that Champions League match in the week. I'm going to go for Crystal Palace to get a draw from that game. I reckon a 2-2. 2-2 for this game. Liverpool-Norwich, I'll come to the end because that's when I'll give my score predictions. Southampton-Everton. Everton obviously appointing Frank Lampard just recently. I think Everton will get the result 2-1. Oh, nah, I can't say Everton will win. I can't say Everton win. 2-1 Southampton, 2-1 for the Saints. Ralph and Denman will sort them out. But Manchester City against Spurs. Wow, this is a game that I want to see. On the way back, I'll be travelling to and from Liverpool tomorrow. So it's going to be a long day in the car. However, it's one that I'm willing to do. I'm willing to sacrifice if it means I'm sat in Anfield once again. Man City, I can't say Man City won't win. If I say Man City will lose, they go and pump the team. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I'm gonna say Tottenham, you get pumped, and then hopefully roles are reversed. Tottenham pump Manchester City. I mean, Tottenham are a Man City's bogey team. They are the other way around, I think, but I do believe Man City do have enough at the moment. Spurs are not playing too great, but they do have Antonio Conte, and he's a very pragmatic manager, and he could wriggle a situation. So I'm going to go 6-0 Man City. Now I'm going to go 4-1 Man City, and I will be surprised if anything other than a City win. Sorry to dash everyone's excitement, but that's just what I believe anyway. Leeds Manchester United. I mean, Leeds could get something from this game. I mean, Manchester United, first half merchants. I think they win against Brighton in the week was way too overhyped. I did watch a full match highlights of that game, and the chances that they still missed. I mean, Ronaldo was kicking himself when he got benched. He came off the pitch after the game, I think, because the way he was contributing, he was still like, he could have scored 4 or 5 and he only scored 2, was it? So he'll be gutted. Fernandes could have scored 3. And it's worrying signs. I think that result really is papered over the cracks. I think Leeds could give him a hiding. I'm going to go at 5-2. 5-2. Man United will score first. I reckon we're in for a thriller at Ellen Road. Fans will be up for that as well. But the next one, oh, sorry, 1 second, let me get out of here. Wolves and Leicester, that could be a difficult one. Diogo Jota scored a hat-trick in this fixture a few years ago. Go for Wolves. I'm going to go for Wolves. Yeah, I'm going to go for Wolves. I think Leicester is struggling. Brendan Rodgers is struggling particularly as well. I'm going to go for a 2-1. 3-1 Wolves win. Bruno Lage's men will march on. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Obviously, look, we just need to keep winning games. Forget what Man City are doing. If there's anything different, we'll obviously hear about it and we'll obviously play it from here. But I think from a Liverpool perspective, we have a big game tomorrow against Norwich. As soon as that full-time whistle's blown by Mike Dean, focus then turns to Leeds. So from a Liverpool perspective, score predictions. From a football perspective, any Norwich fan who thinks they can get something from this game, I mean, yeah, I want to know where you're on, mate, because it's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen whatsoever. So I'm going to go for Liverpool to win. Because I'm at the game, I'm going to stick it out, yeah. Wait. I think it'll be 6-0. There we go, I just said it. 6-0. Let me get it back up on the screen. 6-0. You hear it first. I think Mane will score. Salah will score 2. Salah will score 3. Diaz will score 1. Elliott will score. I think Diaz will score his first goal. I'm not going to lie to you boys. I think he'll score his first goal. And then I'm going for... So Salah 3. Diaz 1. Elliott 1. And that big Verge on a header. Big Verge for a header. He scored a header against Norwich last time, one of the times before. So that's what I'm going to go for. But big up to everybody who's tuned in. Subscribe to Alec's channel, Klopp Talk TV, if you haven't already read. Thank you very much, L5 Star. Make sure you go and do some. Thank you, mate. Man United won countless trophies with a beast defenders in the kick and chase 90s. Football has evolved, yet they with Shaw and Maguire shapeless and brainless. Well said there, mate. I fully agree with that. I think Manchester United are a walking mess. I mean, I looked at a video of Gary Neville when he ran over and celebrated at the Liverpool fans. I don't see any Manchester United player having the passion that he obtained doing that. And I just think they're all individuals. They're all individuals. They're leaking information. They're not with Ralph Rangnick. They're not playing the system well. They're not carrying it out well. They don't have the players to... They have the players on paper, but having players on paper doesn't mean anything. If they don't gel, it's like Argentina. You know, they won their Copa America, but they've been known for introducing top players. But have they gelled? No. And does that always lead to a success? Not necessarily. So that's the case with Manchester United. I do feel that they need to ship off some of the big players, and I mean the big players, and they've got to sacrifice to receive a benefit from it in the long term. It's going to be a sacrifice in the short term. But as soon as they get rid of some individuals, I fully believe Manchester United are on the right track back. But at this moment in time, they just drifted. They're not moving anywhere. They're just not moving anywhere. They're just drifting. But Stu has said it's because Klopp and Pep has exposed the Premier League to be an overhyped league, English prostitute league. And there you go. That's an interesting analogy right there. But yeah, I mean, Klopp and Pep have really highlighted the problems. I do agree with that bit. And Tuchel as well. You've got to mention the top class managers. But you know, they've been poor for a long time, Manchester United, and yeah, they're just not showing much signs that they're really on their way back up. But so guys, big up to everybody. Make sure you drop a like on this video. If you did enjoy the content, make sure you smash subscribe. Remember, my channel, Klopp Talk TV, I'll be over there tomorrow. There should be a live watch along with one of the lads on L5 Star FC on my channel, and then there'll be a vlog after the game. Obviously, the match reaction outside the ground. I'll be on the COP TV with James Redmond. So, yeah, there's plenty of content for you guys to delve into in due course. But take care all. You'll never walk alone. Thank you all for watching and take care. Come on, the Reds. Let's get the win against Norwich.